Hey guys, and welcome to Unit 1 Notes, Exploring the New World. Please note that it is new to Europeans, not to the Native Americans that lived there. Why does anyone want to come over to the New World? Gold, glory, and God. Always and forever, the 3 Gs. The British were jealous of the Portuguese gold that they were finding in Africa and South America. People like Christopher Columbus wanted that personal glory, and missionaries wanted to spread the word of God. And then we have the theory of mercantilism. This is a vocab word, so make sure you know this one. Basically, it just means that there's a certain amount of wealth in the world and that it is in a nation's best interest to get all of that money. Because the more money you have, the more power you have. And that is going to be what drives the United States forward. So then we're going to talk about who's going to travel. They're going to be the merchants, the people that are selling goods from the New World, those seeking religious freedoms. Quakers will be in Pennsylvania, Moravians will be in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and the Puritans will settle Plymouth Rock in Massachusetts. You also have those people seeking a better life. Like those who would be in debt, they could go to the New World and work off that debt. Or if you're the 7th son, you're not going to inherit anything because the oldest son gets it. So you would want to go to the New World to try to eke out your own living. And then, of course, all of those people looking for shiny rocks in the dirt, gold hunters trying to strike it rich as quick as possible. What did these people bring? This is known as the Columbian Exchange. It is a distinct exchange of plants, animals, diseases, and technologies. Zooming in here on this picture, I want to point out specifically diseases coming from Europe. These diseases are going to annihilate native populations in a matter of 20 to 30 years after initial contact. And while that is terrible, and it is terrible, there's also a lot of really great things that come between this exchange, like quinine, which is going to be inserted in a lot of medicine that's going to end up saving a lot of lives from those diseases. Here we are going to look at how natives and Europeans got along, and by looking at that hand, you can assume it is disgusting with disease. That hand has a disease called smallpox, and smallpox was brought over by the Europeans, and that affected the natives. Definitely died from that in more numbers than the Europeans. But Europeans also really struggled because they couldn't farm well in the soil that was provided in the areas that they were colonizing, so the natives helped them learn farming things. But the biggest thing to take away is their religious ideas clashed, the idea of God versus Earth being a god. Now, this is probably the most important slide in this entire slideshow, because without the Mayflower Compact, we would not have modern-day American democracy. Before the Pilgrims even got off the boat, they established order in the colony by signing the Mayflower Compact, which just was a bunch of rules that they made up for themselves, like don't eat each other, don't steal from each other, work together, those normal respect each other kind of thoughts and rules. And it was amazing because the King of England signed off on it. And without the King of England signing off on it, we would not have the idea of self-government in the United States. So I don't know if the American Revolution would have looked the same without it, which is amazing to think that such a small piece of paper really changed the course of American history. Please go take time to watch the videos that are in this Prezi. It's on Google Classroom. All right, next we're going to skip to the struggles of settling. This is going to be lack of fresh water. Where these people decided to colonize, it was very brackish water, meaning it was just mixed with salty and kind of dirty river water. Next, you get diseases from bugs. Guys, there's diseases from Europe, there's diseases from bugs, there's diseases from ill-prepared food. Pretty much everything was out to kill the people that were trying to colonize the United States area. You have bad soil, you really can't grow things in sand, and so they really needed to rely on natives to teach them how to farm the land, but the natives wanted them gone, so the natives themselves were also a struggle in settling. Then you also get regional weather issues, hurricanes, tornadoes versus snowstorms, and not enough food. No one settling the New World ever brought enough food. All right, the 13 colonies, as we look at them by region, the New England colonies are Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and New Hampshire. The pilgrim spot. The first Thanksgiving kind of idea was in this area. But basically, they leveled the forests and they built a bunch of ships, and that's how they made their money. Next, we have the middle colonies, which is New York, Delaware, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. This really has been the melting pot of the entire United States for a really long time. It is made up of Quakers, Catholics, Jewish, many different religions are in this area. The Dutch founded this area and called it New Amsterdam, and it was the financial capital of the New World, and it's still, New York City is still one of the financial capitals of the world. So then we have the southern colonies. We have Virginia, Maryland, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. And all of these are going to be agriculture-based colonies. And when I say agriculture-based, I mean they're farming, which means plantations, which means slave labor. This is where we get the cotton, tobacco, and sugar that's going to fuel the southern economy. Georgia is a prison colony. Now let's look at North Carolina as a colony. Let's do a quick close-up on them. Just some quick history. North Carolina was given to the Lords Proprietors by King James way back. King George buys it back from them in 1729. It is coastal plain area. It is large. It has tons of great stuff for farming. People populate it from all over the colonies. You get South Carolinians who move to the southern part of North Carolina, migrants from Pennsylvania and Maryland and Virginia who moved to the Piedmont area where we are today, that came down the Great Wagon Road. This was a road that connected all 13 colonies. And those migrants in the Piedmont are the Moravians, like we talked about earlier. This is just a quick picture of how the state of North Carolina was populated. Basically, if you look at the times and the colors as it goes west, it shows you how we populated the state of North Carolina all the way through the time. So how far we were by 1830, that is about when we got all of North Carolina populated. Now, this is Sir Walter Raleigh. He is the guy that funded the first colony settlement by the English in North America on Roanoke Island. The first one failed because they didn't have enough food, so then they left. And the second one, it also failed because it disappeared. Dun dun dun, spooky, what happened to it? Seriously, to this day, we don't know what happened to Roanoke Colony. Okay, so at first there was just one Carolina colony. In 1712, though, South Carolina broke away and became its own independent colony. North Carolina's first governor was Edward Hyde. Natural resources in North Carolina is timber, so trees, fish, land suitable for development of farming, which means the development of the plantation lifestyle, and slaves. North Carolina was a slave state. You can watch this video here to learn about Tryon Palace, which was the governor's first mansion of North Carolina. It goes into disrepair and then is rebuilt in the 40s, which is pretty cool. That is your first note section. Congratulations, you are done.